It's podcadzo.
Well, I think you have the one.
Did I grab it?
You
There was
see the
one
little-
sitting on top of the fridge, but this one is.
You see
dented
that
up.
little dent?
Yeah. All right.
I doesn't feel like there's too much of a difference, honestly.
Yeah. They're nitrogenated, anyways.
You're fucking nitrogenated.
That's right, baby.
I'll fucking show you nitrogenated.
I'll nitrogenate you all night long.
Give me the shitty one too.
Well, I was gonna see if this one could fill both of our cups, but it can't. It might.
Yeah,
here.
not even close.
Well, you
Nope,
said
no,
you
no,
just wanted a
no,
little
no,
bit.
no,
Okay.
no. Fuck you. Don't fucking pour me your leftovers.
Starting off combative.
I want to watch it all fucking. I want to watch it do the thing.
All right. Not bad at all. See a bunch of worry and hubbub over nothing,
There was a little bit of.
as per usual.
There was a little bit.
We need some chapstick on the set. The Guinness will take care of my chapped lips, surely.
I cannot talk and pour beer at the same time.
Good thing you're not a bartender.
Yeah, I've done everything I can do to avoid it. Oh man, look at that.
Cheers, dude.
That was so good.
Beautiful. Guinness is the best stuff on earth.
Truly.
All right, I'd love to have our usual combative preamble.
We don't have time because someone
But
was
we don't have
fucking
time.
late.
Someone failed to warn
Someone
me
was
that
fucking
the
late.
exit to their home was closed.
I would take Owl Canyon. Why would I take Owl
Do you
Canyon
usually take
ever?
Wellington?
When I go that way, yeah, but why would I be going that way ever?
Anyways.
Everything I need is in Fort Collins.
Anyways, let's get to brass tacks. The topic today
Way to
is
block the fucking screen. This entire camera's just pointing straight at you.
yeah, and this one's pointed straight at you. That's how it
No, I
works
bet
now.
you're in there, too.
No, I'm not. And if I am in there, I'm going to cut myself out anyways. Let me produce the episode, dude, and shut up.
I can't see the TV.
Put it on your screen if
I
it's that
can't
big.
put
of
it
a
on
deal.
both.
Mirror it.
I don't want to change the settings.
Anyways, we're talking about two bands today that have very little to do with each other.
You really need to settle down. I feel like you've got some real...
Let me ride this wave. I'm going to bring it into Hot Topics on the bands.
Apparently, I don't have a fucking choice.
Let me ride the wave, brother.
Okay.
Go with the flow. All right. I'm a pro. This is intentional. I can control my emotions.
Yeah, you're doing a real good job convincing me of that.
God damn it. We're talking about the Armed and Viagra Boys today. Two bands that have very little to do with each other, other than the fact that
Nothing.
they're bands that we both like right now, and they've opened for Queens of the
They
Stone
both
Age.
open for Queens. Which...
And that's the first thing we need to talk about.
Okay.
Is that Julian and I saw Queens of the Stone Age live in concert in Denver, and Viagra Boys opened. And and it was probably the best show of my life.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It
dude.
was phenomenal. It's definitely like in my top 3.
It was really good.
Did you enjoy Queens as much as you enjoyed Viagra Boys?
Oh, much more so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool.
And nothing against Viagra Boys set. I went in there, I'd say, equally excited for both of their sets, and Viagra Boys killed it, and I was very happy with their set. And but Queens of the Stone Age, not to compare the bands or anything, but their set was just like
They're true
incomparable.
fucking professionals.
Yeah, I've seen so many live videos of Queens of the Stone Age that I thought I knew like what a live Queens of the Stone Age show would be like, and
Same.
it was
Totally different.
totally different.
Yeah.
And like 10 times better.
It's, I don't know, like, I've also watched a bunch of Queens of the Stone Age videos. I feel like the thing is, and obviously this is just because you're watching a video, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be quite as like warm or like just
Yes.
positive.
It was so positive. The
As it
vibes
does.
were, that was the one thing about the show, and I even heard people at the venue saying this, is that the vibes were immaculate. In the merch line, some of my friends were waiting, and the people waiting the merch booth was like, wow, this is a really great crowd.
Truly.
And yeah,
There was no drama, no bullshit. Josh Homme didn't kick anybody in the face.
No, he did have he called someone a cunt for shining their light in someone's face.
Well,
Did you catch that?
Yeah, but
It
did
wasn't
he call
aggressive.
them a cunt, or did
he said,
say
"Don't."
we're not gonna? He said, "You guys aren't
we're
gonna
not
be
gonna
cunts."
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Classic Josh Homme. He came out and he said Denver likes to smoke, fuck, drink, dance. Yeah.
Yeah. He kept saying, Denver, you're so good.
But you
You're
like
so
to dance,
good,
but
Denver.
you like to fuck.
You're smoking. Some of you are on mushrooms. All right.
You.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Which elevated the experience.
Yeah. I was on high as fuck on marijuana.
Yeah.
But
I was on the right amount of shroomies. We have a lot to talk about with Armed Viagra Boys.
Oh,
and
God. What?
What'd you forget? You
Get him.
get him. First, come into camera and apologize. Come into frame. That camera. Anyways,
Will's here.
Will's here.
The Will that we always
The
talk shit
famous
about.
Will Brock from our brother band.
There's
Foreign
the
words.
keys.
No one's gonna hear that, dude. What are you thinking?
Yeah,
Shake him in the mic.
that could be some good ASMR. Better than your bullshit.
I forgot to crack it.
Yeah,
in the
thank
mic today.
fuck.
Ooh.
Sends a shiver down my spine.
Yeah. All right.
Was he even remotely in the frame?
I hope so. Or I
Bye.
hope not. Okay, we
We're
gotta move
talking
on to the
about-
Viagra Boys and the Armed. But
Yes.
first, what do you have a favorite song or like memorable moment from the Queen set?
Oh my God. Holy shit. Honestly, like, this is a cop-out answer, kind of, but I have been just, like, dreaming about seeing them for so long and, like, building it up in my head as being an incredible show that the fact that it was actually genuinely incredible, like, I couldn't complain about a single thing.
I couldn't either. I
I
wasn't
was
even
stoked that they played 666 second.
Yeah. That-
Because, I don't know, like, I feel like I haven't been paying too much attention lately, but I feel like that's just not one that gets played live too
No.
terribly much. And it's one of my favorite Queens of the Stone Age songs ever. And they gave Era Vulgaris like a lot of love because
They
they also
did.
played Turning on the Fucking Screw, which that song is
Ripped so
amazing.
hard.
And yeah,
I was hoping for threes and sevens.
yeah,
but-
kind of. But I think and this is something that Josh Homme did where that poster had like the 3 songs on it, and one of them was threes and sevens.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was straight jacket fitting, and then they like played straight jacket fitting.
Which
I feel
was
like,
great.
yeah, that one's really cool live. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that one was the one that he picked because it just went super fucking hard.
Good point.
Yeah.
I was digging all the new stuff so much.
A lot.
Carnivore and Emotion Sickness stood out to me as like, but I had the same thing. Like during the set, it was just a barrage of fucking greatness. So
And they
like
played
I wasn't
that
even
song-
necessarily like clocking songs in real time.
Totally.
It wasn't until after I was like, what songs did they even fucking play? Because
Well,
the
yeah,
whole time I was
and
just
you were
like,
high on mushrooms.
yeah, that contributed. But the whole time I was like, this is so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then people afterwards were talking about songs. I was like, oh yeah, they did play that song. That was great.
They played the Negative Space from the new record, which is probably my favorite one on the new record.
Yeah.
And they like got really quiet and like cut the sound from the mains.
Yes.
Like when it gets to the weird kind of like somewhat instrumental breakdown, like that was fucking beautiful. Like the production is just professional. Like every element of it was incredibly professional.
Did you enjoy the drum solo on
Yeah,
Guys
I was
in the Radio?
Well, okay, so were you kind of surprised that they didn't close with Song for the Dead?
Yes. That so I was gonna ask you next if there was any songs you were missing out on, and I was really expecting a song for the dead.
Yeah, I was expecting I thought they just always closed with that
Yeah.
pretty much. I think it's way cooler that we got to hear songs on the radio.
Yeah.
I think it's way cooler that John Theodore got to like do his own thing rather than playing like Dave Grohl's
that
exact
drum part, yeah.
drum break or whatever. But that being said, I was like for the entire encore just waiting for that moment to start.
Well, he did the tribute to Mark Lanigan
Mm-hmm.
near the end of the set, and I was kind of expecting it there.
Yeah.
Because that's one that Mark sang on the record.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've watched their like festival sets on YouTube and stuff, they always throw that in the set. But I mean, I would have liked that song. I mentioned threes and sevens, and I like they opened with No One Knows, which they've been doing. I was expecting that,
Yeah.
and which was it's cool that they like
It's cool they get the biggest one out
biggest
of the way
out of the way first. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like so predictable. So it would have been like,
It's so unpredictable though, because most people
yeah,
do
it's
the
true,
opposite.
true. I mean, yeah, that's why it's unpredictable. Is because it's so predictable. It's so like, let's open up with
Yeah.
our best known song
And
right
then
off the
it
bat.
kind of just leaves the whole entire set to be like, what now?
Yeah.
How do we follow up with?
So one more like classic all timer from them, like 3s and 7s or Lost Art of Keeping a Secret or something would have been nice, but I don't know. That's not why I was there, to hear like the songs everyone knows. But
I honestly think it was a really good mix of older shit and newer shit because I always kind of pigeonholed Queens of the Stone Age as being one of those bands that plays a lot of old shit with just like a very little amount of new shit mixed in.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I will say, the only song they played from Villains was The Way You Used to Do, which
yeah, you're right. I guess that's true.
I think is the worst song on Villains.
Yeah.
I would have taken like Head Like a Haunted House or even the other single from that record, not Domesticated Animals.
Draw such a blank.
I can't remember what it's called, but the one where he's like, "Come close."
Yeah.
That one. But yeah.
Fucking
Anyway,
awesome.
can't really nitpick it too much. Every song they did play, I was genuinely fucking stoked to just get the chance to hear it live. I was like, "Holy shit! They're playing 666 live. I'll take it." They're playing, My God Is the Sun. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like no matter what it was, I was just like, "Let's fucking go!"
Let's go.
And they nailed
it. Flowed
Like
so well into
everything was perfect.
It was like truly a flawless set.
Yeah.
Not a single missed note, misbeat. It
Yeah.
was.
Josh
I
Homme
mean,
is
you
one of the
hear-
best guitar players I've ever seen. And
I
John
was gonna
Theodore
say
is one of the best
best-
drummers I've ever seen.
I had
And Shoes is one of the best bassists I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, they're all just fucking incredible.
I had never I'm a huge Queens fan and listen to them all the time, but I never fully appreciated their like guitar mastery until that live show. Like
It's all
it was
just guitar.
Yeah. And it was Tone City.
Tone City, and it sounded really well. Like, shout out to the venue.
I know I've been hearing things about Fiddlers that the sound hasn't been good, and I thought the sound was great
It was
for both Queens
incredible.
and Viagra Boys.
Yeah.
And we were way up in the fucking
Yeah, we were kind of
in
further
the
back.
grass. Anyways, let's shift to the
For the
actual
fifth time he says, "Let's
conversation.
shift." Why are we talking about these two?
Well, for whatever reason, I was editing the last episode. And at the end of it, we talked a lot about the Armed and said the next, so it had to be about the Armed.
And then you just decided, I need to talk about something too.
Well, no, we talked about it at because I thought it would be hard to fill an entire episode with Armed.
Yeah,
And I've been
especially
wanting to
'cause
talk
we've
about
already
Viagra
talked
Boys.
about them so
Yeah,
much.
true. So if it's all right with you, can we start with Viagra Boys because that's an easy
That's
shift.
what I was
from-
hoping
Okay,
for.
cool.
Yes.
So Viagra Boys open for Queens. I've been obsessed with Viagra Boys lately. They've been the band I've been listening to the most. I'm stoked on them. And I wanted to see Queens of the Stone Age so badly, obviously. And then when I heard Viagra Boys was open, I was like, oh my God, this is the show of the year. Because I missed Viagra Boys a couple times or once. So I was stoked with their set. We talked a little bit after their set. So I think I know what you think of it, but what did you think of their set?
It was funny. I obviously the dude writes like kind of funny, tongue in cheek, goofy
Very
lyrics.
humorous, yes.
Not even necessarily tongue in cheek because a lot of it is
No,
just about
Blatant.
a lot of it's just about nothing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like not to sound like pretentious. Obviously, I was there to see Queens of the Stone Age, and they're not like the most like boundary pushing band of all time by
Yeah.
any means. But like, all their songs are just like the same to me. Like a lot of it is same tempo.
Yep.
Same kind of structure. Not necessarily like same key, but definitely like resembling like chord structures.
It
Similar.
as much as I listen to them, if you played me an instrumental version of all their songs, I'd be hard pressed to distinguish a lot of them from one another without vocals.
And that's kind of the thing is like it's like one of those like they have like a lot of different influences, which is cool. They sound kind of surf rocky. They sound kind of like indie rocky. They have like the New York alt thing going on. Like
Do you know where they're from?
no,
Sweden.
really.
Yeah, they're from Stockholm. The singer.
Well, that honestly makes me like them a lot more.
Yeah,
Because
isn't that cool?
if it was from like, and this is gonna sound really douchey, they're from America, that type of thing can be considered derivative.
Yeah.
You're from Sweden. Too many people are doing things that sound like that.
Yeah, totally. And once you know that, I wonder if you'll hear more of a Euro element in the music.
That's got to be why he was bitching about the elevation so much.
Yeah.
He complained about the elevation a lot for even...
because they're from like below sea level in fucking Sweden.
Most people would be like, oh, elevation, like, oh, it sucks one time. But he said it like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And he laid down for
He does
the
that
end
every set.
But I could tell that he was like, that he needed that. He needed a second.
So very fair point.
Fattest Swede I've ever seen.
So Sebastian Murphy is the lead singer. He's actually from Sweden by way of Australia. He was born in Australia but moved to Sweden.
Got it.
And the band formed in Sweden.
Got it.
So I totally fair evaluation that all their songs sound kind of the same for that live set. If you listen to an album, they have like a slower tempo things, more dramatic, serious songs, and change it up, and they can do that very well. And they can also do like weird, psychedelic, like he's just talking over weird music sort of things very well. Like there's a song on the new album called Adrenochrome where he does like...
Did they do that one?
They didn't do Adrenochrome.
Okay.
So check out
There's a weirder song that was like kind of dancey almost.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember their set list. They did Down in the Basement to open. They did Punk Rock Loser.
Is the one about sports just called Sports?
They did Sports.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably every Viagra Boys fan favorite song.
That was, yes, I think so. And that's when a lot of people got onto them because they did like this music video too that got a bunch of attention with it. And I think that's probably the first time I heard of Viagra Boys. So that song came out 2018 maybe?
Damn.
It was a while ago. Maybe it was a little later. But so I've been like kind of following them since Sports came out. And they like release a lot of cool live stuff on YouTube. Like they do these like sessions. So I've been like, a casual fan of them for a while. And then they released Cave Worlds earlier this year, their 3rd album. And I got really obsessed with Cave Worlds.
He's got really cool tattoos.
He does. And so what has excited me so much about the band is he is the best frontman I've seen in a while for a newer band. Like you can't.
Maybe I have to watch some videos because he did say he was taking it pretty easy. Like
watch them. They have a set of a video of them playing at Lowlands in the Netherlands this year, and it's one of the best live sets I've seen on YouTube in a long time. It's captivating, especially like they come out and play probably my favorite song for them, which is called Ain't No Thief. They didn't play that at the show we saw, which I was bummed about. But Ain't No Thief is a great song. They come out playing that. And he's just so like dynamic and captivating and just controls the audience. And so I like for opening for Queens, just 2 things. I wonder if he's like kind of purposefully not trying to showboat as much or like, be so steal the show for lack of better phrase. And I think they probably feel a lot of pressure to keep the set very high energy. So they're playing their most like high energy, clubby sort of up tempo songs. That was very much what the set was. It was all like the same pace, and it was just
that's
all
not
in your
what,
face.
Like most of their sets just.
No, from what I've seen of their like YouTube videos, they'll take it up and down, pretty frequently.
Okay. Well then, yeah, maybe it just wasn't like the best context to see them for the first time because I really thought it was like a one-trick pony kind of set, which isn't a bad thing. Like they were really good at what they did.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. Me and Kelsey were both like, we went into it having no idea what to expect, and we both, at the end of the set, were like, that was pretty fucking enjoyable. So I think I would definitely enjoy them live more than studio, just kind of based on the context of everything I know. I've heard some of their studio stuff, and that's kind of how I formed the opinion that I don't really like them that much before going to the Queen's show, because I just remember always having the opinion, or not even the opinion, because it's not educated, but just like the impression that I wasn't really be into them that much.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, I was stoked on it, and I think keeping the energy high is kind of the way to go when you're opening a set.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you don't want to like bum everybody out right before like a Queens of the Stone Age show.
Yeah, totally. And I doubt like Queens of the Stone Age
they don't put any like standards down.
No, they don't put any standards, but you know, I imagine they feel the pressure to be like, hey, we're opening for like a huge rock band, Queens of the Stone Age. Like, it's not our show. Let's go out there, fucking do our thing, high energy. We're not gonna like play our more conceptual, slow paced songs.
I will say, people that didn't know them, like myself, they after that set definitely have a pretty solid idea of who the Viagra Boys are, about. Which is the best thing you can really do as an opener, is just kind of sell yourself.
Yeah. All right, let's shift to the Armed.
Really?
Yeah.
That was fast.
Yeah. Well, I would love to talk more about Viagra Boys. Maybe we'll do another episode after you've listened to some more of their stuff and watched some videos and stuff.
Okay. Just before we move on, then, tell me like where I should start. What's their best album?
So I've so Streetworms, their debut in 2018. It's probably my, like, after listening to them a lot now, Streetworms I would say is my favorite, but Cave World,
the
which
art
came
for Cave World is sick.
Yeah, it's really cool. I just got it on vinyl. No big deal.
Nice. I gotta start sending pictures of my vinyl to you to post.
Yeah, do it to post on the story. You can just log into the Instagram. I don't know why I'm the only one with. I'll just send you the login.
Password. So that's why.
Yeah. Anyways, fair point. So, you know what would be a cooler thing? Go watch their shrimp sessions on YouTube.
Okay. Well, but that's the thing. I want to know what a good place to start for them in the studio is. Okay. So my impression of them studio is that I don't really like it.
Listen to Cave Worlds, and then listen to Streetworms. Welfare Jazz is their second album. It's not my favorite. And then you can watch the shrimp sessions. Okay. No, before you watch Shrimp Sessions, okay, here, I take it back. Here's my actual assignment. Go watch their Lowlands Fest set to start off with, then listen to Cave Worlds.
I'll write that down.
Then Streetworms, and then do whatever the hell you want.
I'm just gonna
by that
Lowlands
point you'll be
Fest
hooked.
Because I'll forget that.
But dude, like, do you know how impressive it is for some fat Australian dude with, you know, a bunch of tattoos all over his beer belly to just go out on stage and dumb sunglasses every night and just like...
He was very unapologetically himself, which I very much admire, because I think maybe part of the reason why I didn't really like Viagra Boys before was it seemed like kind of a persona that they were trying to adopt, or like a gimmick that they were trying to have. But after seeing them, it's kind of like, no, that's just that dude. That's just how they are. Yeah. And I mean, they were all really... fun to watch. Like, it wasn't like it was just frontman syndrome. Like, the whole band was very into what was going on.
Yeah, he's a
sax player /
gay man
guitar player who
every
shredded the fucking guitar and played like an atonal saxophone solo for like 4 minutes.
Julia looked over to me when that was going on. She was like, "When is this gonna end?" I'm like, "Are you kidding? This is the best sax solo I've ever heard."
It was so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like anything crazy musically complex was going on, but that's kind of also refreshing, because like not everything has to be like academically riveting in order to be like considered good, which I'm learning the older I get.
And it's so nice to have a band that incorporates humor in their songs. It's like a
without
not
kind of
totally
making it
corny
like,
way.
Yeah, without making it the entire thing.
Ain't No Thief is, like I said, my favorite song. And if you pay attention to the lyrics, you're like, oh yeah, this is a really funny song. But if you're just vibing with the song, it goes hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, feels like an anthem.
They all went hard, and a lot of them felt pretty anthemic too.
Yep.
Okay, the Armed. So basically, my whole thing about the Armed here is just that I was really sad that the Armed didn't open at our show because the Armed was opening for Queens of the Stone Age for like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And or not a long time, but for like a chunk of their new tour. And so we
They
missed
probably
them.
realized it was not feasible to have a 30-person band tour with them. There's so many people in the Armed, dude.
I haven't watched.
I don't know what their sets with Queens were, but if you watch them at like festivals and stuff, there's so many
There are a
fucking
lot of
people
people
on the stage.
I haven't watched
It's
any
like Wu-Tang
of their
Clan.
recent stuff live, but I think that it might be slightly more stripped back because, okay, so just to like get us up to speed here, and I'm not going to rehash shit that I've already talked about previously because what's the point? But basically, The Armed is this band that I've been pretty obsessed with for like a couple years now. Ultra Pop was the record that got me in.
That's
and
when
Ultra Pop's
you
amazing.
introduced me, was when Ultra Pop came out.
I highly recommend anyone who likes somewhat noisy, somewhat post-hardcore, somewhat like even art pop at times, like blend of things. Check out Ultra Pop. They put out a new record that's called Perfect Saviors, and I have been very, very obsessed with it. Kind of seems like, well, I'm not going to say it's just me. It is a very critically acclaimed record. Like a lot of music critics like it, which isn't to say it's good, obviously. But it did get good reception, and the Armed fans did really like it. I love it. I think, for me personally, might be my record of the year, or it's at least in the top 3 at the moment. I was really excited to hear that live, and I also thought that it fit really, really well with like the Queens of the Stone Age record. Like
That's true.
they
Especially-
could
the
work
new
well
one.
together live. And Troy Van Leeuwen is literally in the Armed, so like he could just come out, play some songs with them, come back out with Queens of the Stone Age.
Did he just contribute guitar on Perfect Saviors?
No,
Or
he's
has he been in it before?
regularly contributing since the beginning.
Okay.
So yeah, that's part of the getting us up to speed part of things. Last time we really talked about the Armed in depth was on a different podcast. If you really want to listen to it, you can go find it somewhere.
Waxy Wednesdays?
Yes. But basically, at that time, the Armed was like anonymous. Their full-time members weren't like revealed to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And there was like a rotating lineup of people that kind of came in and played, or that's how they made it seem. With Perfect Saviors, they kind of like revealed their full lineup of full-time members, and it's kind of interesting, like just by happenstance, their drummer was a dude I had already been following for a while, and I was just like, oh fuck, that dude plays drums for the Armed. His name is Urian
rips
Hackney.
so hard.
Yeah. Big shout out Urian Hackney. And then there's like, I don't honestly know the rest of their names, to be honest, but
Everyone in the bands in the current lineup is jacked and super attractive too.
yes.
Which you would not expect from a weird noise post-hardcore band.
And they're all from Detroit too.
They're all from Detroit,
so
yeah.
They could, I don't know, that could make them seem like a little bit more raggedy, but they're definitely not raggedy. They're all like, very cool looking people, and they put together like a really good package for their new album. I think it's like very visually striking.
Yeah.
And they released a video that is essentially just a house party that they had. And it's just like a bunch of stills and photos from that combined with some of the video from it. I think that was put together really well. The like reveal of the album and the teasing of the album was all done really well. It all just essentially like, led to them revealing who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so by virtue of that, I think there's like a little bit more like closeness. Like you can become a little bit more close with the record just because you can put names and faces to the sounds that you're hearing. So I think that impacted the record for me a lot before it was even out. I was just kind of like, oh, fuck, like I feel like this is a more personal take on kind of what's been going on. And then what they put out was just a record that is like a more, I think, kind of even combination of pop and like modern, just like shiny, glitzy, hyper fast kind of pop stuff combined with like the post-hardcore. They said that they wrote it kind of like they took songs that were like pop tracks and then tried to put that through the post-hardcore filter
Which,
rather than
yeah.
doing kind of the opposite on Ultra Pop where they had post-hardcore songs and they tried to make them sound poppier.
And you had told me that, which I found surprising because I had said that to me, Ultra Pop was a more accessible album than Perfect Saviors.
Yeah, which I honestly think is very interesting. And I mean, I don't know. It could just be because I don't know. I prefer noisier shit in general, kind of, but like I think that Ultra Pop to me is like the noisier record of the two.
Uh-huh.
But like everyone I've shown Perfect Saviors to has kind of said that it's like the more like jumbled record of the two, which I just think is very interesting because I think it's a lot cleaner. I hear a lot less like blast beating and like out of time drumming and like.
So here's my theory on, because I've been thinking about it lately, why I thought that about Perfect Saviors. And I think it's because that with Perfect Saviors, you can hear the pop influence and like that the songs are written that way and that they do feel a little bit more accessible, but that it's so noisy and like there's this weird tension between the two that almost like leads to like a frustration where it's like I once was watching YouTube videos for this band, The Fall. You know The Fall?
Yeah.
And someone left a comment there that has always stuck in my head. And it said, these would be great songs if they didn't sound so bad. That's exactly how I feel about a lot of the Armed, but Perfect Strangers, especially like Sport of Form, for example. Like, God, like if they like recorded this like a normal band, this song would be like amazing. Not that it's not amazing, but I feel like it kind of creates that tension that like underneath the noise and like the Armed facade, you can hear like a very well crafted pop.
Yeah.
Rock
I think that's
song.
kind of the only thing that makes it work. Otherwise, it would just be noise.
Mhm.
Like the structure that it all has that carries through
Yeah.
is what makes it like, kind of organized chaos.
Mhm.
I agree with you, man. I mean, like, fuck, noise music and that type of very abrasive production style is really, really hard to like. I don't know.
Finish this.
Did I not?
Oh, it is done. Keep talking.
God damn. Fucking alcoholic. Well, I don't really remember what I was going to say now, but the Armed good.
Don't worry, I'm back. You don't have to carry the show for long and come back to put it on my back.
I mean, yeah, like noise music is hard
Do the
to
mic again.
Thank fucking God you still interrupted me, so that's cool. Just let me know when you're ready for me to continue.
Yeah, keep talking about the Armed.
Yeah, I don't know. Pretty much
So-
noise music is hard to get into, and at the same time, like if your entire goal is if your entire goal is just mixing two kind of similar but mostly kind of different genres together and having something structurally sound but sonically very challenging, it's definitely just going to be like abrasive, And I feel like part of the reason why I've always preferred the Armed's music to like most like hyperpop and shit like that is because I really like noise metal and kind of just like atonal rock shit like that. And I think the Armed is kind of a good like dipping your toe into that universe of noise without it being like about just being incredibly noisy and like atonal and freeform and improvised. It kind of gives you that feeling of still like it's frantic, it's uppity, it's very like fast and in your face, but it's not just like a fucking jazz solo on like fucking methamphetamine.
Yeah.
I've never been super into hyperpop, and I've tried really hard to get into hyperpop more, and I just can't I can't get into it. And that's kind of where I was at with noise music for a long time. And then it kind of just like happened where I was just kind of like, okay, like this is cool. And then I just listened to it a bunch more and it just kind of clicked and I was like, I fucking love this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how ultra pop was for me at first, where like first time I heard it, I really just listened to it because I had heard from a bunch of other people that it was fucking amazing. And then I listened to it and I was like, I don't know about this. But it was interesting enough to like keep me thinking about it. So then of course I just went back and listened to it again. Second time it was like, okay, I think I kind of get this. And then every time after that I just increasingly liked it more. And then when Perfect Saviors came out, it was kind of just like, you know, having an idea of what it would be like from the singles and also just knowing, like what their goal was for the record. I was just like all in for it. And when it came out, I was like, considering that I kind of had that knowledge of what they wanted to do, like, you know, a pop record with the hardcore influence, I was like, well, they fucking nailed that. And I think that the thing that post-hardcore and like even like modern like thrash is kind of missing is like that element of noise.
Yeah.
So I think that them tying that in and being challenging from a production standpoint is just them elevating post-hardcore to like that next level, because if it was just straight post-hardcore, I honestly wouldn't like it. It would just kind of be like pop punk at that point.
Why? Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely not for everyone. But that being said, if you're into the combination of those things, like noise with, you know, very like catchy songs that just are fed through like kind of a garbage filter, then like there's no reason that you would not like The Armed. And even though the production is challenging, I think most people that know anything about production or even just, you know, enjoy discussing production, like you can't deny that it is produced to a T.
The
like,
noise
everything is done
element of it
incredibly
is so
intentionally.
nuanced.
Yeah,
it's not just like we're gonna like add distortion to everything and make this as fucked up as we like.
Yeah,
like if you really truly listen to the songs, you do find yourself going like, where is this coming from? Like, why does it sound like this? Like, what element of this sounds so fucked up? Because I can hear the drums clearly, like the snare is breaking through everything, and I can hear his vocal. You know, like where is the noise coming from? It's very impressive. And I know you haven't seen them live, but have you like watched any of their shit on YouTube or anything? Because they very like impressively replicate that noise element in their live set too.
They're incredible live.
Yeah.
Like, again, haven't seen them live, so I can't say that like that I know that for a fact. But yeah, I've watched a lot of videos and just listened to sets while I'm like doing dishes at work. I'm like, yeah, they bring that noise into it in such a tasteful way where it's not just like, okay, we're gonna be loud as fuck and brash as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, hell, I'm in a band that's kind of like that, where it's like we're just gonna be brash as fuck and uncomfortable and like hurt people.
Cadzo.
Yeah, that's Cadzo. But everything they do is very like tasteful and, like you said, kind of nuanced. Like it's all done for the effect of adding that chaotic kind of like, I don't want to say frantic, because it does. When I listen to it, it doesn't make me go like, "Oh God," but it's just kind of like a chaotic and very like upheaved, kind of like feeling, and I fucking love that feeling. So.
I don't go, "Oh God," like this so noisy, I'm going crazy. I get often that feeling of tension that I was describing earlier, where there's such a contrast between the underlying catchiness and of the songs, and that they're just well written, and the element of noise over it. It is like, it's frustrating sometimes, which is like a cool thing to have in music, where it's like, this is hard, I want to hear this, and it's hard to listen to.
Sure.
And it like, even describing it, I can kind of feel like that. It gives me just a feeling of uncomfortability and like tension. It's the best way I have to describe it.
I think that's what I almost kind of enjoy about it too, and not to like say that you're not capable of separating the two, but I really enjoy kind of being able to separate the two, where like I can zone in on like the lyrical hooks and the melodies in the guitar, and like the overall groove that's happening, because the album is groovy as fuck. Like pretty much everywhere, it's just like got that like driving pulse. But I can zone in on that thing that I like in the catchiness of it, or I can zone in on the noise depending on like, you know, kind of where I want to go. And I can also kind of stay like in the middle where it's all like happening at the same time.
Right.
I don't know. I've been listening to it so much that I feel like I just kind of, every time I listen to it, I've been able to pull it apart a little bit more and find another layer. So now it's like I can expect what's coming next a little bit more. If you're not there with it, and like most people don't get there with albums in general, but if you're not there with it and you just throw it on like once every couple months, it could be one of those things where you're like, oh fuck, this is abrasive as hell, and then you kind of like forget how abrasive it is, and then you put it on again later and you're like, oh fuck, this is abrasive as hell. But I think that also kind of speaks to how nuanced it is, because it's not in your face, just like a rah kind of record, you know. It's, and I think Ultra Pop was like, there's so many songs on Ultra Pop where 3/4 of the songs are just and screaming, like 4 people screaming, and it's distorted as hell, and it's like 400 BPM.
And see, maybe that's why I found it more accessible, is because like, oh, I understand this. It's noise music. Like this sounds fucking
I just
crazy.
Think that's so interesting, because I consider myself someone who did understand noise music when I found Ultra Pop, and the first time I listened to it, I was like, I do not get this at all. Like, why would you take a hardcore song and then make it sound like fucking shit? Just make noise music instead. Like,
the caveat to what we talked about Perfect Saviors a while ago, and I said I listened to it, and I listened to it on the car ride on the way home. So it was a car listen my first time.
Sure.
On the highway.
But you've got good speakers.
They're decent, but like
it's
once I did listen the next day with headphones on and was actually paying more attention to the songs, and it hooked me in more for sure.
That's the thing. The first time I listened to it with headphones while I was like pretty much focused on just listening to it, and it all just culminated perfectly, where I was just like, this was exactly what the fuck I was expecting and wanted, through like the virtue of the expectation, I guess.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think, again, something that's just undeniable is the musicality on it. Like, every drum part is insane, and every guitar part is crazy, and like the bass tone is like perfect on the whole record. And even like the more like synthesized elements of the songs are like really good too, and the production. Well, all right. This was a shorter episode, which how's it feel, bitch? How's it feel, bitch?
Thanks for watching.
We can't close it like that.
This was a shorter episode, which maybe the fans will appreciate. We'll see. Maybe short for the fan. 5 of you. But,
I don't like it. I like talking to you.
No,
longer.
I know. I want to go way deeper on
and
both
Will's
bands.
not here.
True, but I'm just anticipating him getting here, and maybe we should start to set up. We got a show next week, folks. If you're listening to this the day it comes out and you're in Fort Collins, Colorado,
this will be out the day of the show.
Come see us at Chippers Lanes, 830 North.
Hell yeah.
On College Avenue.
We're closing her down, buddy.
It's our first headlining set. And only our second show ever. So
yep. And
we're doing pretty well, guys.
I do want to say one thing about the show. It's at a bowling alley.
Yep.
Did you already say that?
No.
Okay, it's at a bowling alley.
So it's Chippers, yeah.
People
don't know.
Yeah. Not everyone knows what Chippers is. It's a bowling alley. You can bowl while we're playing. And you can get smashed. And there's a drive-through liquor store right next door, and a dispensary that's open till midnight.
You can drive home drunk.
You can drive home crossed.
Yeah. Faded.
Faded as fuck.
We're gonna get faded.
And you can drive home knowing that you worked on your bowling game, which every good American should care about.
And saw one of the city's fastest rising indie rock stars, Cadzo.
And with every quick rise comes a quick fall. So stay tuned for that.
I'm going to kill Julian in 4 episodes.
Yeah. Honestly,
On
make
camera.
it 3. Because, yeah.
We're going to do a full
me out with
Viagra
that.
Boys sode. And
I'll just kill myself.
oh, see, there's Benson. The dogs are barking. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Drop a comment if you want to hear more about The Armed or Viagra Boys.
Drop
or
a
drop a
comment.
comment if you know those bands and you like them.
Drop a comment if you want to hear us talk about something completely different.
Drop a comment if you find us sexy and you want to touch us in the flesh. We will let that happen if you're in the Fort Collins area on Wednesday, October 11th at 8:30 North. You can touch us.
A few hours from now, when this comes out.
Yeah. We release these episodes at 6 a.m. If you're a true fan and listening to this when it drops,
You'll be
you
up
have
at
approximately
sunrise.
13 hours.
Yep. You could get a plan together.
You can touch us. Anyways. Freaking. See you
Thanks
at
a
the
lot.
show. Thanks, everyone. Good night. Worst closing ever.
I was really just waiting to see where you would go with it.